The Boy Next Door is a Shudder exclusive, unfortunately, and that's mainly because what writer and director David Charbonier and Justin Powell present is a rather intriguing story, at least when you look at it as a whole. Just to give you a basis of what this movie's about, it's about a boy named Kevin and his best friend Bobby, and wanted to get kidnapped by someone who exploits children. Luckily for Bobby, the kidnapper's clientele aren't much for black kids, so he gets a chance to escape. But rather than abandon Kevin and try to make his own way, he tries to figure out a way to rescue him without getting killed or put into the same predicament Kevin is in. Now, I should note, it is something that contains body horror because you'll see someone get their finger cut off and nail ripped off. There's a lot of blood, but it's more so like pool of blood rather than it be shooting out like as a Quentin Tarantino movie. There are scenes of torture, like someone gets electrocuted, and it also contains. I use the euphemism exploits children, but it's something of a much more nefarious nature, and that's not seen in the film, but it's definitely implied. As for highlights, one of the first highlights that come in the movie is that the kidnapper, who it is not expected. Because when you think of kidnapper, you have a sudden like serial killer look, big, heavyset guy, maybe old guy who has a white band, hands out children candy, but it's not someone who looks like that at all. And because it's not someone who looks like that, it kind of throws you off when it comes to this movie and also sets up the expectation that it could possibly be far different from what you're expecting. And that gets you a little bit excited. However, with that excitement also comes with some frustration because as much as you'll enjoy Bobby, one of the things that may get on your nerves is that Bobby is clearly a child, and the way that Lonnie Chavis plays him is as a child. So it's not one of those situations where, oh, he's so smart and he figures out this, that, and that, and it makes the kidnapper look stupid. More often than not, Bobby is a true child, so it's not like he's trying to kill or hurt anybody. Heck, even for someone who's about to do something to his friend Kevin, and he stops him for that, spoiler, um, Bobby apologizes when he hits the man. So that just should give you an idea of how Bobby's going to probably get on your nerves, especially as you have to recognize that he is an innocent child put into this wild predicament, is basically just trying to survive the best way he can. But with that said, as much as Bobby's annoying, you have to admit that Lonnie Chavis is a movie star. Between this and The Waterman, he really shows himself as a leading man. And whether it's building a relationship with Ezra Dewey, who plays Kevin, or else the uh, way he gauges with the kidnapper, it's definitely something where you can see his charisma, his screen presence, in a way that he can get you to invest not just in his character, but also whoever he's sharing the screen with. And that is probably one of the main driving forces that's going to keep you watching this film because Kevin doesn't really give you all that much because he's, for the most part, helpless. And while we do enjoy the kidnapper, at the same time, the luster of the shock of who it is goes down. And thankfully, Lonnie Chavis, I messed that boy's name up. Either way, he really keeps things going and keeps you watching to the end, especially as the kidnapper starts to get a leg up on the situation and you start to wonder. Because this is a Shudder exclusive and I don't necessarily know many of their films, there is always that question of is this going to be the one that's going to be a bit of a shocker so they can get people talking, or is it going to end like most of these movies do when the hero gets out in the end? But with that said, this movie is definitely something positive, and I would even recommend it. For yes, you do have to pay a $4.99 subscription, but it's only for a month. And I'm sure Shudder has other movies, shows, documentaries that you may have an interest in. But focusing specifically on the boy behind the door, the selling point, as noted, is Lonnie Chavis. This kid twice now has proved himself to be a star, and with him building that kind of trust that can show he can be consistent, I say he's probably one of the few actors who, especially with this new generation, that because his name is attached, we'll probably go see it. But with that said, with a small cast and moments that inspire anxiety and frustration, it's recommended, but definitely not for people who aren't necessarily into horror movies, especially horror movies that focus on children being traumatized and put into life or death situations.